As we reap what we sow during the harvest of Samhain, allowing space for death ushers new energy in. So raise your glass, witches and wizards, for the veil is gossamer thin. Trust your shadows and your roots, and let the magic truly begin. Are you ready to make a genuine, intentional change? Welcome to the MagicisMessy podcast. Welcome back, witches and wizards, sisters and misters, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Kitty Kitty D. You are awesome. And across from me is the beautiful Ace.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Once again, welcome back to the MagicisMessy podcast, where we rock and roll into all things that are messy, because we are making a genuine intentional change. And damn, is that a rad practice.
We are making intentional changes to be messy. If we aren't already.
I dig messy.
Do you?
Yeah.
You like being messy?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a clean house.
Make no mistake.
But during, for example, the new moon in Libra, I did the ritual.
Okay.
And it was like dressing your candle and all that jazz. And I have this candle that I got all icky and all, I mean.
How did you get all the herbs? She has like a candle on her altar that's like rolled in some sort of substance.
Honey.
Was it honey?
Honey.
And then rolled in the lavender.
Rolled in lavender,
I saw
correct.
that.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, how'd she do that? Now, would you burn it like that?
Yeah.
And then does the honey snap?
Crackle? Crackle, pop?
I was going to say, is it like Rice Krispies on it?
Kind of, a little bit, yeah. Ooh. And it smells so good because the lavender smoke it just goes.
Lavender smoke?
I love it. I love it.
Like lavender haze.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm not going to be weird. I'm not going to be weird. I promise.
You are weird.
I am
Embrace
weird.
the weird. Embrace the weird.
That's the messy.
The messy. That is the messy. You're absolutely right.
Be weird.
So today's episode, now this is actually a surprise episode.
Surprise.
So you'll get the next one that we have on Thursday, obviously, but we are throwing down the what the fuck is Samhain.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Right, because you, as a witchlet, or in the beginner mindset, we are always coming from the beginner mindset, relearning about the turning of the wheel of the year. Yes. Me, as a pagan, I love the turning of the year. I absolutely celebrate all of them. Astara, Imbolg, Samhain, all of them. And I can feel them when they are on their way.
Okay.
So when Samhain comes to play, this is the witch's new year. Oh, so Happy New Year, witch.
Happy New Year to
Happy New Year, wizards, witches, guys, gals, boys, girls, diamonds, and pearls. Thank you for being here as we celebrate a new year.
Yay.
Dig it. So let's dive right in. I'm going to do the history of Samhain.
Okay.
And then you also, to my understanding, looked up the history of Halloween.
I did.
And how do they coincide? How do they meld? How do they mesh?
And I'm curious to see, because Kitty and I have not exchanged notes yet.
Notes.
So
All the notes.
we all
All
have
the
notes, and we haven't exchanged any. So I'm excited to find out what we both discovered together and what we discovered that was new to each other.
Yeah.
And of course, new to all of you listeners as well.
New to you, be do.
Yes.
All right. So let's start with the name. Because I'll be honest, when I first saw it's spelled Samhain.
Yeah. Samhain.
Samhain.
Sounds like a hobbit.
Yeah, well, yeah, right? That's actually quite cute.
Okay.
Samhain, but actually it rhymes with cow-in. It's Samhain.
Yes.
Samhain is the Celtic pronunciation, if you will, Samhain. And in Gaelic, it actually comes out to be summer's end. That is the name of Samhain, means summer's end.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So as this is the turning of the wheel of the year, it is known as the last harvest festival on the wheel of the year in Gaelic Celtic culture.
Okay.
And also because it is the ending that brings new beginning, which is why we celebrate it as the witch's new year.
Okay.
Dig it?
Got it.
Now, Celtics back in the day, they saw the Samhain celebration as when the veil is the most thin throughout the entire year. Yeah. Now, I've also heard that May Day or Bealtaine, it looks like Beltane, but it's pronounced Bealtaine.
Cool.
That is also a very thin veil.
And that's
in the
in May?
spring.
Mid-May?
It's May 1st.
Okay, interesting.
May 1st, right?
So when in my research, I discovered that like May 13th was considered All Souls Day. Have you heard
My
of that?
birthday?
Yes.
May 13th? No shit.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta write down your birthday.
May 13th is All Souls Day?
It's called All Souls Day. I think it is. I'll have to double check that.
Because this is known as All Saints Day.
What here and
like October 31st and November 1st, right?
All
you have
Saints
the
Day.
Dia de los Muertos, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, okay.
It's known as All Saints Day or the Day of the Dead.
Okay.
A lot of different cultures celebrate this thinning of the veil.
Yes.
Now, also in my studies, I came up to a long time ago, like the Celtics were never afraid of spirits.
Okay.
Right? It's Christianity that turned spirits into more sinister.
Oh, interesting.
Whereas before they were revered as being sacred.
Oh my gosh.
So, back in the day, this Samhain celebration, the last harvest, they would make what's called a dumb supper or a silent supper, and they would set a place for their ancestors.
Okay.
This is the time where you honor those who have passed away either in the last year or beforehand. You invite them into your home, you give them offerings, you tell them how much you love them, and you honor your ancestors as we embark here in the Northern Hemisphere, as we embark into the season of death, into the decay.
Meaning, like the seasons are dying. So, like in essence, if we look around and like we're here in the Northern Hemisphere in Minnesota, which is a cool environment,
right?
And so we see the turning of the leaves, which is very beautiful, right? All the beautiful colors, but ultimately that's the first sign of death, if that makes sense.
100%.
And so in essence, we're watching the precursor to death, meaning
yes.
Winter is death.
Yes.
Okay.
Winter is death. Yet with and that's the thing. Like when I pull the tarot card of death, right?
Okay.
Tarot. I'm going to bring tarot in. Of course, I'm going to bring tarot into it. Love me some tarot. When the death card comes up, everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, No, death is a good thing. Because death means there's rebirth around the corner, but you have to allow something to die. You have to get rid of it. You have to be aware of what is ending, what is dying, to leave room for something new in its place. So when you're talking about the falling of the leaves, that is the tree going into dormancy.
Yes.
So that it can thrive in its own way during the winter and come back
rebirth.
even more strongly in the spring.
Yes, I love that. And here in Minnesota, because I've lived around the country in the United States, a couple of different places, and I have to tell you, there's nothing more beautiful than fall in Minnesota. Truly.
Ooh.
There is no place better.
There's no place like home.
There's no place. I will say that during our turn, so my husband was in the Navy for 8 years, and so during our turn in the military for 8 years, we were basically south of the Mason-Dixon.
Okay.
Well, maybe not. I mean, we were in Virginia. That's kind of like the edge of it.
Well, and how
Anyway.
was dormancy there?
There's no color. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
Like south of the Mason-Dixon line, there is no color. Like I think everybody's like, well, we're going to go up to New York and see the colors. Like people would go north and, places like Vermont and places like Maryland
Sure.
and places like that. They have all the beautiful colors like we do here in Minnesota. But south of the Mason-Dixon, there's nothing. And in California, nothing.
And that's another thing too. Like when I would go to Arizona during the winter, like there's nothing's blooming, nothing's, and so it's still alive per se,
Yes.
but it's not in its thriving state.
Agreed. And I think just looking at
it's dormant.
Yeah, I appreciate seeing a little bit more dramatic cycling, I think, because I'm dramatic, but also I like seeing it because again, in California.
You are?
You are too.
JK, I know. Hey, girl. Takes one to know one day.
We're like the anyway. So in California, I remember I got a sunburn on Christmas Day, 85 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't appreciate
which
that.
is great, which is a beautiful thing.
I mean,
right?
yeah,
just for some people.
Yeah, for vitamin D.
But where I wanted to bring that was, this dormancy, this decay, this death. It is everywhere.
Yeah, and it's something to be honored, and it's beautiful.
I should say everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Those in the Southern Hemisphere are going through the spring awakening.
Because I was going to say in the Southern Hemisphere, and then it's like winter is like the happy vibe moment, right? Like our winter is is their summer.
You would listen to the Bialtina episode, which is the emergence of spring.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a mirror image of one of the opposition, if you will, right? Where that's the spring bring, and this is the fall decay.
Gotcha.
Dig it?
Yep.
So yes, we're descending into the winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. We are now currently in Scorpio season.
Yep.
And Scorpio is the time of shadows. It is the time of death. It is the time of introspection, of focusing inward. It is the time of course, the might sound super scary, but also worth it shadow work. Time.
Shadow work is it's amazing. I have done my share of it, and I'll just tell you that it is like going into the dark basement and finding like a Labubu down there or something. Okay,
Those things are scary AF.
I know they are, but they're cute also. Like you're like, oh, it's super scary, but it's cute. That's kind of what shadow work is.
Actually, that's a really good way to put it. It looks really cute from the outside, and then you get super close into it, and you're like, oh my god,
it's kind of cute.
What kind of demon are you? Right? Are you going to bite my hand off with those sharp teeth? But no, I think within shadow work and within the dormancy and death, when you say the word death, a lot of people are like, oh, death is the end. Death is it. This is the end. My only friend, the end. But actually, in reality, it's a transformation into a new beginning.
Yes.
And that's what this veil is signifying, is the ending of a cycle and the rebirth of a new one.
Okay.
Because you need that time to, just like with every new moon. Let's go back to the moon cycles, and we'll be doing What the Fuck is Moonology on the next podcast. And we'll go into the new moon, the quarter moons, the full moons, all of that jazz. But the new moon is that empty space, that empty bucket, that darkness where you can plant those seeds. And that's what the winter is meant to be too. Winter is the new moon of the face. Okay. So if they kind of hold hands, they coincide with one another. Where we need this time, we deserve this time. We can honor, and we are privileged to have this time to go into ourselves, to do the shadow work. So then when the spring reemerges, we are a new version, and we can absolutely bring these new beginnings to fruition.
Love it.
You have this time to work on yourself, where in the summer, you're working outward. Yep. The sun is shining. It's all about the sun. And the sun is the outward, where the moon is the inward.
Yes.
So that's why working on yourself with introspection, kind of like that hermit mode.
But I think I just had like a total stream of consciousness moment.
Ooh, and lay it on me.
I know. I'm going to try to get to the end of this.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
But one of the things I find is like, so I think I'm kind of like an ambivert. They have extrovert, introvert.
Sure.
I think I'm like both a little, but I will say that
you're an introverted extrovert.
Yeah, I'm an ambivert.
An ambivert.
Did you know that's what they're
I've
called?
never heard that word before.
I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I realize I'm like putting bullshit knowledge that I like statistic. Anyway, I'm pretty
take what you need. The rest you can leave.
Yeah, exactly. Or correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Right.
Please. I just said something about All Souls Day, and I'm like,
ambivert.
Is that actually
ambivert?
So anyway, ambivert. So being that I am charged, right, both by being around people and also being alone. Okay.
Yeah.
And the balance of the two of those things for me. And I will say that I find summer sometimes to be a little overwhelming. Like there is a lot of there's a lot going on. People are like, I gotta do this and I gotta go there and blah, 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 blah. There's this thing, I can do that thing, I can do this thing. And that's what summer feels like to me. And winter feels like,
okay, like you can take a deep breath. You can chill the fuck out.
yeah, I'm not pressured to do all the things.
Oh yeah.
Like it's okay.
Other than make soup in your house and cuddle up with a book.
Oh my gosh, doesn't that sound amazing?
It does.
Read a fucking book or like yes, or like and like I love that. I love the going inward part. So maybe I lean a little more introvert. But anyway, do you get like panicky any season? Like do you get more panicky in winter? Because you're more of an extrovert, yeah?
I thrive on the go. Like, when you think of summer, like for the past 3 summers, I've been with the band and we've been touring.
Yep.
And we will go 3 nights a week. And it is just boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam. And I love it.
Do you?
I love it. Like I even told this to the band this year, because as we go, it gets progressively bigger.
Yes.
And bigger shows and bigger audiences. And it's just such a really cool process that we're going through.
It's fun to watch you guys go through it.
I was like, you guys, I know that I'm going to start going through like a withdrawal style depression when this is over with. Because we go from 3 shows a week to maybe 3 shows a month.
Okay.
And that's a really big, like,
for real.
Like
for real.
A shock to my system type of a thing. But that's a beautiful thing, is that shock to my system. Now it's like, hey, I have a lot more time. Why do you think I started the podcast up again?
Why did you?
Because I was like, I've got all the time in the world to do this with my BFF and bring the word, the message of magic and witch to the masses again.
I love that.
And I just want to call out, side bay tangent, right? I want to call out all of you who have commented, who have said, we miss you. Thank you. This new conversational episode stuff that we've got going on is a nice breath of fresh air.
Yes.
So I just wanted to call out everyone, and I will be doing shout outs in the next Moon episode coming up on Thursday. But I just wanted to say thank you. Super rad gratitude to all of you who have reached out, who have booked tarot sessions, right? The Samhain special is currently on. And
what is it again?
It is a 30-minute session, tarot session for $33.
That is, you guys.
It's a deal. It's a steal and a deal.
It's a steal and a deal because this woman is highly talented in the world of tarot. I mean, again, mind blown. If you didn't listen to the previous episodes, I've met people, I know people who had readings done with her, and they still to this day are like, I can't even believe it. It was like, what, 6 months? It was a year ago that my friends got your readings. Well, just like Casey
and Mike.
And
shout out Casey
and Mike.
Casey Beach.
Casey
Biatch.
Yes. She's my girl.
Shout out.
But anyway, they're still to this day, like, I remember what she said and it blows me away. So I just want to iterate, if you have not gotten a reading from Kitty D for a mere, you said $33?
33? That's my master life map number too.
Yes,
I just found out.
I love that. But if you have not gotten one by her, then you need to invest because it is worth it.
Well, thank you. I did not even pay her to say that, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I just came up with that.
I appreciate that very much, Ace. So back to the introspection and the shock, where the time when the winter comes, there's a part of me that's like, I want to be doing so much more stuff. But then once my body catches up to it, it's like, oh, the stuff I'm doing is the really dirty, dingy, messy stuff. Oh, I get to be so much more messy in the winter months. Yeah. Right? And I embrace that dormancy and decay.
Good for you.
To shed the layers, so to speak, to get really down and dirty, getting jiggy with it. Yeah. Na. And utilizing that time for my benefit. Instead of just sitting on my laurels and twiddling my thumb pieces, I actually use it to my advantage. And I never used to be that way until I started practicing a practice and getting more into the moon phases and the turning of the wheel of the year.
Isn't that amazing how just
gives me so much more intention?
It just embracing a new way of thinking, or in my case, a new way of thinking has just given me such new perspective on all of that.
Yeah.
So
Being a witch is a mindset.
It is.
As we discussed in the last episode. If you did not get a chance to listen to What the Fuck is a Witch, please feel free to do that.
Please feel free.
Also, I found out another side bay tangent, that witch actually has Celtic roots in the word wise.
Yes, I heard
Did you find that as well?
I did. I didn't write it down, but I did
Where
find that.
the wise woman would lead people through ritual during the darkness of the year.
Hell yeah.
As well as the divination and the creating the intentions for new beginnings, because that was their new year.
Well, we are honoring our legacy then.
We're honoring our legacy and being a motherfucking witch.
We didn't even mean to. We just wanted to.
Did we subconsciously mean to?
Oh, hell yeah. Were we called to?
We were, there we go. Yeah. We were called to this path. All right. Let's see. What else did you find out about Halloween?
I was wondering
Samhain?
how you wanted to do this, because I've written down. I did some a couple of pages of notes of Halloween just as we know it here in America. So again, this leads into some of the European belief structures, but also is predominantly focused in America. So that's kind of how we celebrate it here in America. And so it was really interesting because one of the things I've learned is a lot of how we celebrate here in America, Halloween, as it were, is very closely tied to the Irish belief structures.
Irish and Scottish, yeah.
Irish and Celtic belief structures. Mm-hmm. So when the New World was being formed, I even had like dates and shit.
Oh, snap.
I know.
Girl,
I didn't even
hard.
look at I know. I
I'm
did
so
it.
proud of you.
I may or may not have had a little bit of a I might have been on board. I might have had some enhancing
divine downloads.
Some mood.
I get what you mean.
Some mood enhancing substances on board. But yeah, I got really. As I'm opening, I'm like, wow, I really.
I don't remember that.
So you guys are going to hear that.
Okay, bring your.
Yes. So yeah, basically. One of the things is like, so as the New World was created, generally over in Europe, like you were saying, people celebrated with harvest festivals, right? So celebrating the abundance of fall season and like the harvest, and like, hey, look what summer has yielded for us. Yep. And so we're gonna have a bonfire and we're gonna celebrate and we're gonna get together with the town. It was like a town thing, right? Like a village thing, and people would get together and they would have these huge bonfires, and that was like part of the like saying goodbye to summer and welcoming in the darkness, so to speak.
100%.
And one of the things these people would do at these, they called them like party, like basically they were parties. Let's see if I wrote this down someplace. But basically they were like these they called them play parties, actually, play parties. And so they would do things like share stories of their ancestors, and they would share food, and they would share stories. They would dance, they would sing. It was a huge deal, like one of the biggest things over there. And so as the New World came in and people started coming into America in the northern parts, there was a little bit more of a British, no, maybe not British. Well, yeah, because it was the British that started the whole thing. But basically there was a lot of more of that religious structure around Protestant beliefs.
Sure.
And so it wasn't celebrated as much in the like northern part of the New England, but in the southern part, like Maryland and below, ultimately they were allowing more of the or European belief structures to come in. So there was, even back then, it was even, and this was like at the beginning of the century. It was like, let me see if I can write this down. It was basically in the second half of the 19th century was when it started happening, so the late 1800s.
Sure.
And so these new immigrants would come over, in particular Irish, fleeing the Irish potato famine.
Yeah.
And I just had to share a little side story about, I used to live in Savannah, or very near Savannah, Georgia. And Savannah, Georgia has the Savannah River running through it, which connects straight to the ocean. So there were a lot of ships and things that would come into the Savannah River, into Savannah, okay? And so Savannah had these like huge there was a huge amount of Irish people down in Savannah, okay? And it's more so, and this is, I remember this, is like the Irish, like the Savannah has the largest St. Patrick's Day party on the eastern seaboard next to Boston.
Wow.
And your girl was there.
Wow.
During both Halloween in Savannah and
St. Patty's
in Savannah. And I'm gonna tell you,
It's a deal, huh?
There was before I went there, and there was after I went there.
Oh,
is what I'm saying.
Snap.
Yeah, and again, maybe a few mood-altering substances on board, but as a general rule, I mean, it was wild.
Wow.
And so part of that was, again,
I would have never guessed Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Of all the things. But there's so much rich history in Savannah, and it is also the #1 most haunted place in America.
Ooh.
Past New York, past New Orleans, past all of that.
Really?
100%.
Is it like due to plantation, due to...
So what's really interesting was, I mean, plagues, obviously, because people would come in on the ships.
Sure.
They would bring plagues and like illnesses from other countries. The yellow fever like wiped out. And that's what happened in New Orleans too, is like yellow fever. Like, this is, can I just say something really quick?
Please.
This is so fun. I'm such a history nerd. I don't know.
I love that you're having fun. I'm loving listening to you.
I love like hearing about history. I love history. It's so stupid. Anyway, so people would come in. I don't know.
Don't say that to yourself. I think it's super cool.
Thanks. But anyway, people would come in, and the yellow plague would come and wipe them out, and all of these things. And then here's something little known that a lot of people know about Savannah. But there's actually catacombs underneath the city. And
very nice.
Yeah. So this is how slaves would move around and be sold and be working. And so there
Underground Railroad jam.
A lot of people died underground.
Oh.
So that's why it's highly, highly haunted.
Oh, wow.
Because there's twice as many people that died above ground as died below ground. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dude. It's like...
So that's a lot of wandering spirits. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah. So when and if you do go there, make sure you mention to the spirits that they can't come home with you, because somebody at this table may or may not have had that happen. So that's for another episode.
What the fuck is...
What the fuck is that?
Right.
Self-haunting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that tangent. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, yes.
With the Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Because that related to the Irish potato famine.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Because, and I want to actually go back. You mentioned bonfire. You
Yes.
mentioned like city parties.
Yep.
Right? Bonfire actually came from bone fire.
Oh.
Right? Bone fire, they lit the communal fire, like you just said, and it was to honor the sun. And keep the darkness away.
Okay.
And then what they would do is they would have their last harvest, and they would take the bones of the carcasses of the animals that were just, offered, so to speak, and they would offer those bones into the fire. Okay. And that's why it was called a bone fire, but it was transferred into bonfire later on.
That is amazing, because last night when I was reading this, I'm like, why would they just have a random bonfire? And here you picked it up.
Right.
See, this is how I know.
But also they would take, so as you're heading into, right, like I just lit my fireplace for like the first time probably 2-3 days ago. Because I was like, oh, there's a chill in the air.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right? So what they did was they took a flame from this bonfire, and they would light their hearth with it. Oh. For protection, for lighting the flame to keep the darkness away during the winter months. Okay. And also they were, the bones were given as offering. And then once they offered the bones, they would take a piece of this flame and bring it back to their home.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So almost like like when you trim off a cutting of your plant and you give it to somebody, like they did the
kind of they propagated the fire.
Propagate. That's
I actually
the word I was
really
thinking.
really enjoy that you said that. Yes.
Propagated fire.
Propagated fire. I didn't know that was
probably
a thing.
illegal here in Minnesota. Like, why are you driving around with a bonfire in your car, dude?
Bonfire.
Bonfire. It's actually bone.
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back to Halloween in America. So back then it was known as to be a highly community focused, neighbor focused.
Yeah.
People sharing stories about their loved ones. Fortune telling was
Kind of
a big deal.
National Night Out.
It was, yep.
Okay,
very much.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's in the summer.
August.
But anyway, yeah. So it was very much about to include the community in like a big party. Is ultimately where Halloween kind of began. In America.
And what do they do at these parties? Because I have a couple notes too about that.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Okay, so like I said, singing, dancing, sharing stories of the dead, telling each other's fortunes.
Yeah, divination. Literally, the night of Samhain was known as the night of divination.
Why?
Just because the veil was literally
Thinner.
so thin.
So it was basically the ancestors coming in and what have you, like
Ancestor spirits.
Yeah, and like those people from the European countries would come in and be like, this is how we honor our passed away.
Absolutely.
People. Okay.
This is how we speak to them. This is because because the veil is so thin, if you just take a moment of silence and listen, chances are you can hear a lot more effectively.
Okay.
When the veil is so thin.
Okay.
And for example, like the costumes and the jack-o'-lanterns and all that jazz, like that all started because people were looking to honor the ancestors. Yes. But at the same time, they were trying to trick the spirits or blend in with the spirits.
That's exactly what I got too.
And the earliest versions of costumes were for protection and playful, but they were made out of straw and rags.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, straw and rags.
So they would use it like a sculpture medium almost, yeah?
Sure.
Or something.
To blend in with the spirits, so that they were protected.
Okay.
And then also trick-or-treating.
I've got
That's also something that came up for me where it's called souling.
Yes, I saw the same thing. Going a souling. I wrote that somewhere. So trick-or-treating was called going a souling. Is that crazy?
Offering prayers to the dead in exchange for treats, or disguising, which was children going door to door in costume, reciting verses for coins or food.
Yep.
Which is kind of like, here we go a wassailing, in a sense. Yep. So all of these festivals, because Yule is coming up next, and we'll do a what the fuck is Yule, because Yule is my fave, one of my faves. And not as much as Samhain, but Yule is a close second.
Okay.
But you have the trick-or-treating, you have the jack-o'-lanterns. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything about jack-o'-lanterns?
No, tell me all about jack-o'-lanterns.
Jack-o'-lanterns were started with Stingy Jack.
Oh.
Stingy Jack was the name of this spirit that was doomed to roam the earth with just a lantern. But back in the day in Ireland, Scotland, pumpkins weren't a thing. So they used beets and turnips. And I actually have pictures. They look like Jack Skellington.
They do.
To me.
Is that like rhubarb sticking up out of his head?
That is a turnip.
Oh, I see. So that's the top of the turnip.
The turnips, the beets, the potatoes, because they had potatoes. Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to, dear listener, go and search beet and turnip lantern and see the things that nightmares are made of. Because that's exactly what this is.
Because when you carve a beet, it's like red inside, right? So then now it looks like it's bleeding out of its
Right.
mouth and its eyeballs and stuff. And let me guess, somebody went, this isn't good. These are terrifying. Let's use a pumpkin instead.
But then they came over to America.
Oh.
And pumpkins were obviously a bigger canvas, so to speak. And then you could use the seeds and all that jazz. So pumpkins came afterwards, after they came to America.
Beautiful.
So that's where the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern came from. But originally it was beets, turnips, and potatoes.
So you said a spirit that was doomed to roam the earth. It just reminded me of like Ichabod Crane or like Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
because
Ichabod
Crane, Headless Horseman, is different. So Ichabod Crane was like the guy that like came up with the Headless Horseman, right? Ichabod Crane wasn't the Headless Horseman.
Yeah, correct.
So, but I remember him being on a big black horse of death and having no head except for a jack-o'-lantern head, and then the lantern. Yeah,
I
remember.
Kind of the same. Now it says stingy, but originally when I read it, I thought stingy. I was like, Stingy Jack? I mean, stingy. Maybe it is stingy. I don't know.
He's dressed in a
either way,
costume.
Right. Yeah. Oh, the bumblebee. The no rain bumblebee. I love the blind melon bumblebee. That reminds me of bumblebee. But yes, so the earliest ways that we celebrated Samhain have been transformed into now what we know as Halloween. the bonfires, the jack-o'-lanterns, the costumes,
The trick-or-treating.
the trick-or-treating,
I have history of trick-or-treating here. No
bobbing
joke.
for apples.
I got that too.
Bobbing for apples.
So do you know what that came from?
Tell me.
So another one of the things they used to do at these Samhain festivals or these Halloween festivals back in the early 1800s was they would do fortune telling. So that was a huge deal. And
Divination.
In particular, young women would want to know about their future husbands. So they would do, is that what you got
It's
too?
a matchmaking love divination
That's
game.
exactly what I got too. I'm so glad we're coming up together here. But like, they would do things like they would throw apple peels over their shoulders.
Yep. Or
and-
sleep with them under their pillow
and
so they
to
would dream about their future partner.
Yeah, I got if they one person, or it says here that young women were encouraged to eat a sugary concoction of walnuts, hazelnuts, and nutmeg before bed to dream of their future husbands.
Oh.
So basically they would eat a nut goodie.
Okay. Say less.
They would eat a turtle,
Yeah.
and they would go to bed. And then, so that's where that came in.
good gathering
and then
of
bobbing
nuts.
for apples would be like the first person who would get the apple would be like the next person to marry. So like in essence, like, is that what you got too?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was basically like if like the throwing of the bouquet is like tradition.
That's
like
exactly what I wrote. God dang it. I love where you're at.
Yeah, so basically whatever young woman had, I guess the best grabby mouth, the best grabby
The
teeth,
best bite.
the sharpest teeth.
Yeah.
Ew, she'd be the next one to marry. Basically.
Yes, whoever bit the apple first was said to marry next.
Yep.
And that's why, that didn't come up when I was doing any edumacating of myself. But immediately I was like, oh, it's just like throwing the bouquet at the wedding.
Yeah.
Kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
Apples were sacred to the Celtic world, the Celtic nature. They symbolize immortality and the other world.
Do you know who they're like connected to? Like, yeah, of course you do. Tell me who they're connected to.
Well, it's Pomona.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it.
Pomona, but also Aphrodite. My OG, Aphrodite.
Tell me more.
Well, and then also you have the pomegranates and the figs,
Okay.
who are that's symbolizing Persephone as she goes into the underworld, because she's here for 6 months on Earth, and then she's down with Hades, her husband, for another 6 months. So pomegranates, figs, apples, these are all signs of death, rebirth, immortality, protection, and also. What I love about the apple is if you slice it horizontally, and when I do simmer pots, this is the only way I slice an apple.
Horizontally.
When you slice it horizontally, there is the pentagram in the middle of it. It's a
Shut
star.
up.
You don't know that?
I don't.
No, welcome.
Where's an apple?
Welcome.
I
I don't have an apple right here, right now.
I'm gonna cut it right now when I get home.
If you turn it on its side and cut it
like coin,
exactly like a coin. Yes, it has the 5-pointed star, and in every single point there is a seed. So the 5 seeds represent the 5 elements.
Oh my
and
gosh.
that which is in Wizards, because we've talked about pentagrams and pentacles, right? That is what a pentagram symbolizes. It is not a sinister symbol.
Yep.
It's been made out to be a sinister symbol because of, the affiliation with witches. Mm-hmm. But what the pentagram truly symbolizes is the 5 points of the star represent earth, air, fire, wind, or earth, air, fire, water, and spirit.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it lives inside of an apple.
100%. And that apple, right, where it belongs.
So,
yes.
What you're saying is Eve was like Adam and Eve. We could go back to that part. Like the apple is so symbolizes the fall of man. Supposedly, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that an
okay?
Whoa!
Deconstructing.
You just brought that up to the surface. I
did.
didn't even think about that.
Think about it.
But her eating the apple, so to speak,
Female
was
right, bringing the representation of the 5 elements and giving it to man, and he failed. I did an air quote there.
Ooh, that got deep, though.
We gotta.
We're gonna come back to that in a separate
episode.
What the fuck is spirituality, religion, like
symbols
all
of
of that?
witchcraft.
Symbols of witchcraft. I love that.
So
perfect. Where are we going next?
Okay, where we were talking about those parties, the party. What did I say? The parties, play parties.
The play
parties, where they talked about the superstition stuff, and so that was a huge piece of it. Also in the history of Halloween. So it turns out that it seems to me that both of our research is leading us to the same place, which is cool. That Samhain and Halloween are still used so like synonymously back and forth, and just being a situation, of belief structure. Ultimately.
Absolutely belief structure. And when I started to look at Yule, when I started to look at Bialtina, when I started to look at all of these wheel of the year turning points. Mm-hmm. The absolute amazingness of how much the Celtic Gaelic realm, so to speak, that belief structure was flopped and turned into something that we now know so really Halloween is a modern rendition, a remix, if you will, of Samhain.
I love it.
Yeah. Biggity, ow, ow, ow.
What I noticed is that as I was doing this research and I was sharing it with my husband, who was like, really cool. You know, no, I mean, he was he was on his way to falling asleep. And I was like, hey, babe, wake up a second. I have to tell you this thing. I feel like, okay. But I'm noticing that in the early 1800s, 1900s, at the turns of the century, there was a lot of similar information that you're sharing with me about Samhain. But then in the 50s, it changed.
Oh.
I cannot wait to tell you about this because this blows my mind.
Oh, okay. Go.
So in the 50s, so before, let me read this. So before, let me just, I'm sorry. So in particular, we're talking about like trick-or-treating. So borrowing from European traditions, trick-or-treating, they used to dress up in costumes, as you were saying, to frighten the spirits, to blend in with the spirits, et cetera, et cetera. And then people would go door to door asking for food or money. And that became kind of the beginning of it. But by the late 1800s, lawmakers and towns runners and the people, mayor,
the committee
of the town would be encouraged parents to take out anything frightening or grotesque. So that started at the late 1800s.
Okay.
Like take out all of the representations of anything gross or dead or whatever. And then
like the skulls, the bones,
yes,
the things like that that are actually honoring our ancestors.
Correct.
Oh.
So they started removing that stuff because by the 20th century, superstition, lore, and religion was mostly lost in that. So then it only was the bare bones, if you will, of the Halloween understandings. Because like in the 20th century, which now we're looking at 1920s, 1930s, it was a community-centered holiday still celebrated together. So there would be parades, there would be parties, there would be all of these things, but there would also be vandalism. So vandalism was on the rise back then because, of course, you get a bunch of people, children, teenagers, young people, all of these people together with alcohol and
costumes and masks, so they're not going to be found anyway.
And you're all in the dark.
Oh, shit.
And some people are like, let's go burn down a barn
or
something,
Gosh.
So then that became that vandalism was starting to do that. And so in order to remove the vandalism piece out of it and to save people's barns and houses, they would basically promise children or young people or teenagers ultimately in exchange for treats, please don't burn down my barn.
I get it. Tricks and treats. Okay.
So that ultimately was supposed to try to but even now to this day, I don't know. I mean, I remember as a kid trick-or-treating in the 80s and 90s. I remember I remember one time I got egged.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like some teenagers drove by in a car and like threw an egg at me and my sister, who were wearing like handmade costumes by my mom.
Okay.
It was devastating. Cute. Super devastating. I was like, I ruined my costume. Oh. So I still think that kind of thing, like the pranks, the tricks, the toilet papering of trees, et cetera, is still kind of alive to this day. But in the general, in the beginning of the 1920s and 30s, they started to try to weed that out.
Okay.
But what really happened in the 50s, this is what blows my mind. There was a baby boom. We all know that.
Uh-huh.
So after World War II, all of the troops came home.
Boom shakalaka shaka khan.
And they all got boom shakalaka
wow wow
with all of their girlfriends or their wives or whatever. And there was this massive amount of children born. And so because those holidays were celebrated in large communities, now there were these humongous communities of people, and so people started whittling them down and making them into classrooms and neighborhoods instead of huge towns.
Got it. Okay.
Because there were so many people that would come to this town, right? And in an effort to keep things under control, so to speak, they started creating smaller communities, and that's where the neighborhoods started getting involved, and classrooms and parties and classrooms started getting involved. And so ultimately that was because that at the 1950s it was shifted to make Halloween primarily a children's holiday.
Okay.
Because of that.
So it's no longer adults and families and communities honoring their ancestors.
Correct.
Now
or
it's
harvest.
all about the candy and the keeping people safe.
Yep. And that being said, at that time they started to revive trick-or-treating again because it was an inexpensive way for the town to participate and to prevent vandalism. Okay. And then so what happened and this is the thing that blew my mind the most, because this is what I remember as a child. So with that baby boom and with the reinvention of trick-or-treating, candy companies and the media started getting involved. So candy companies started...
That was a ticking time bomb.
Like, I mean, the candy companies were like, hey, let's build...
Hell yeah.
Because sugar was rationed in the
right.
I know.
Keep going.
I know. So sugar was rationed, and so now that sugar was no longer rationed, because during the war it was rationed, now they wanted to like, remember, you guys can eat sugar. So they basically got all of these new children that were born in the 50s like rehooked back onto sugar and
turn them into diabetics.
Yes,
great.
And now
great.
And now they're
and
all
now look where we're at.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Thanks a lot. But candy companies and the media, so things like Charlie Brown. That was written in the 50s.
The Great Pumpkin,
And the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, was written in the 50s. Also, there was Disney got involved.
Yeah.
So there were all of these iconic, if you will,
characters,
media that would get involved and help the candy companies sell candy.
Son of a beach.
Yeah, so everything was geared towards little kids. And, but yeah, that's ultimately, and then the other thing was, so then it became where these candy companies were just raking in money. And
have you seen how expensive candy is right now?
I haven't. Is it?
I'm just like, ain't no Halloween going on at my house.
No
I mean,
way.
I just, like you said, they're raking in money. They're still raking in the cash.
In fact, it says today Americans spend $11 billion on Halloween every year.
Shut the fuck
making
up.
it the second largest commercial holiday after Christmas.
Oh my goddess.
And in fact, and this is not something I wrote down, but I just wanted to mention it to you, that people, or maybe I did write it down. People spend $175 million on costumes for their pets. I'm sorry, $700 million on pet costumes.
That's because they're cute. You just gave me a pet costume for Zola.
So it says 3 times more than in 2010. So by 2023, we are spending $7 million on pet costumes.
Now, is that because of inflation? Because the pet costumes have grown in price?
Well, I remember as a kid, like, do you remember trick-or-treating when you were a kid and having it be like, we need to get a costume for the dog? Like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's because...
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't...
What I do remember about Halloween is my grandma was the one who gave full-size candy bars.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And these kids would come in pickup trucks. And they would just drive to her house, get out, get their full candy bar, and drive off.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I believe it. Like, we're just going to one house this year, you guys.
Yep.
I love that. So basically that is where trick-or-treating kind of came into. And then also, do you remember trick-or-treating with those UNICEF boxes?
No,
are you familiar?
Not really.
So let me explain the UNICEF boxes. So back in the 80s, I remember this in particular when I was trick-or-treating in the 80s and the early 90s, okay? They used to the schools would hand out these little boxes that were cardboard, and they looked like a little, like an animal cracker box, but with a hole in the top.
Okay.
And ultimately, when you would go trick-or-treating, you would have your little UNICEF box with you, and people who were handing out candy, like the people in their houses, they would hand out whatever loose change they may have had in their pocket.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Or
so kind of that goes back to souling or guising with the coins.
To correct money. And the UNICEF stands for the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. So ultimately, this was supposed to be sent overseas to like children in different countries and places that were struggling. And this campaign, which lasted, I think it started in the 50s and it went through into the 80s. So 40 year campaign, they brought $175 million.
Wow.
To different countries based on this UNICEF thing. So for those of you who remember UNICEF boxes, that was a pretty cool fucking thing. And it was smart as hell.
Yeah.
For them to be doing that. Like, literally, do you have any change in your pocket? Sure. $175 million.
Wow.
Isn't that bizarre?
That's a lot of cashola, girl.
That's amazing to be able to like reach across the pond and help our people over there with those kinds of things. So that was another thing that was super... You don't remember that? You remember UNICEF boxes? Anyway, so yeah, that was a tremendous way to capitalize. So this is just Halloween in America, just as we know it.
Well, and also, okay, so I'm going to go back to, there are other places that celebrate this same exact day. Like I said, in Mexico, there is Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. In Italy, right, I got this one just for you, Agnessanti, which means All Saints Day.
Okay.
In China, it's called the Hungry Ghost Festival. Ooh. There are also ones in Haiti. There are ones in the Philippines that are always centered more on saints, ancestors, because in those countries, it was never turned into a sinister holiday.
Yep.
It was never turned into, the witch is going to get... It was never turned into that.
Yeah.
It was always about the veil is thin, and I want to honor who has passed away either in the last year or honor who has passed away, who I miss. And I know that this is one of those times of the year that I'm able to commune with them, or I'm able to give them offerings. I'm able to be with them again. And it was always about this sacred space rather than a sinister one. So as much as the U.S. has taken Halloween and taken all of these old traditions and kind of flippy floppy flappy floombies, turn them into their own, ways of being, so to speak. But these ways of being are not with the foundation of where this holiday truly was meant to stem from.
The reality is they wanted to make Halloween commercial, and with the arrival of so many children all of a sudden, they're like, hey,
because they wanted to get their piece of that freaking,
So they commercialized
shepherd's pie.
They commercialized it, and they made money off of it so that they could create. And now that I think of it, not that I go back and check this stuff regularly, but my very first memories of Halloween were always The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which I knew very well was not filmed and written or whatever in 1980s. I knew it was filmed earlier than that. But that was but you don't see a lot of Halloween costumes, pictures of people in Halloween costumes much before that, except for way in the 1800s.
The straw and rags.
Right. Or the plague doctor costumes or whatever
that. I love those. Gosh, there was one at the Ren Fest. Absolutely amazing costume. God dang it.
I think I might have seen them. They might have been a worker there.
And they don't say anything.
I know.
They just look creepy and cool and super rad. Yes. Anyway, plague doctor.
Yeah, plague doctor. So that was so interesting. And then again, just that piece of the candy, the trick-or-treating, the candy companies and the media making it so marketable for children. So I thought that was just...
That makes me want to not partake in any of those new age modern remixes of what Samhain is meant to be.
Okay.
It makes me want to go all the way back.
Yep.
And I actually have some ways of doing that.
Okay.
Some plugins. But if you want more plugins, I created a Samhain magic board.
Stop. Do you have it?
I can't show it to you right now because it's on the computer that we're recording on.
Okay.
But it has a bunch of ways to plug in, and I'm just giving it to people.
I can't wait.
Just so you can see what a magic board looks like, because we have one for every new and full moon. But this is a turn of the wheel Samhain style magic board, magic making a genuine intentional change. But that is going to be available on the website, so you can download it for free. On top of that, on November 1st, which is meant to be Dia de los Muertos, or All Saints Day, you and I are going to be getting together with the MagicisMessy collective at noon Central Standard Time.
Okay.
And you can sign up. This is November 1st, Saturday, November 1st. Yeah. You knew that. Saturday, November 1st, we're getting together, and it's just a community party, a party, if you will.
Okay.
To celebrate in community, to be together, to set intentions for the Witches' New Year. And this is also for free.
And this is going to be a digital meeting.
A digital, all around the world meeting.
Oh.
So you can come from wherever you are.
Yes.
And just be in community with us, meet us, talk to one another.
Yeah.
I've got some prompts. I've got some fun things that we can do. A ritual that we can do together, a little bit of maybe a path working. We'll see what comes out of it. But it'll be about an hour or so on Saturday, November 1st.
Are we going
to noon CST?
Are we going to do this in this format, or are we going to do a video one?
It's a Zoom. It's Zoom. Yeah. So you can join from your house. I can join from my house. Guys, anyone can join from anyone's house.
We could wear a Halloween costume in it.
Well, you could. You absolutely could. If it's made out of straw and rags.
If you're still wearing it,
because we're going all the way back.
If you're still wearing it from
the
night before.
Nights. You had one of them nights, though.
Just all your makeup is slided up your face.
Hey, girl, I've been there, done that. Because, when I grew up in college, whatever, Halloween was the time that you could wear the skimpy, super slutty costumes and get away with it.
I even stumbled upon an article of the history of the costume, how it changed and did this. I didn't do a lot of research because I was like, listen, I got to go to bed. But basically it talked about how in the 80s, that's when the sexy costumes started.
Okay.
Because before that it was and then the 50s, of course, it was all the, Mickey Mouse and all of the characters.
The childish
ones. But then in the 80s, they started introducing the sexy versions of everything.
Yeah.
The 80s was the best.
Yeah.
And the 90s. Yeah.
I love that you brought that up, though, that it started to change again for the adults.
Yes.
But it was more the adult version of the child-created Halloween.
Yes.
We're still not going all the way back.
No.
To what these traditions truly, truly meant to begin with.
Do you want to know the history of why parents and why people freaked out about their kids having poisoned candy?
Yeah, what is that all about?
Okay, do you remember that?
Whenever I see these things, they're like, oh, watch out because people are going to give edibles to your kids for Halloween. And I'm like, the hell they are. No one's going to be giving free edibles out to your kids.
You know how
those are
expensive
expensive. Absolutely fucking not.
Like, haha, they're going to have the munchies later.
Settle down. Yeah, they're going to eat all the candy.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
And they won't know what's happening, and I'll be sitting here sober. Like, no, that's not how it works. So basically there was this, so like in the early 1980s, there was a rash of murders that had occurred through I believe in Illinois.
Wasn't there razor blades or something in it?
No, it was Tylenol. So if you go on Netflix right now, they actually have a documentary called The Tylenol Murders. And in the 80s, there was some person who, by the way, this is an unsolved mystery. There was a person that would go into pharmacies and grocery stores, and they would spike Tylenol with cyanide.
Oh, shut
So there was like
up.
a rash of murders of people who had taken Tylenol and then they overdosed on and were killed almost instantly by cyanide.
Oh my gosh.
And so some person
And they put it in a candy?
No, they put it in Tylenol.
Oh, right. But how did the Tylenol...
So what happened is this was happening. It was unsolved. So people were caged out by it, right? So that also prompted childproof containers. They didn't have childproof,
Got you. Okay.
on medicine. But I think people were a little weirded out by that because let's be honest.
Parental advisory.
The 80s was a time of excess. It was a time of celebration because we were following the Vietnam War and in America anyway. And so it was this time of celebration of excess
like
because and all of that. So it was very
One
similar.
love.
It was similar to the 50s in that way.
Sure.
The 50s and the 80s are very similar actually.
Right.
Because it was a time of innovation and industry and economic boom and what have you.
And not
try
very much to worry about.
And not much to worry about.
Right.
Because we just sort of, I don't know, won or whatever. I don't even remember if we
Sure.
we?
Yeah.
Anyway, so those were times where people were very mindful of their children and like, ooh, like rock music is going to turn them into devil worshippers and like candy is going to be poisoned. But in the 1974, there was actually a man who did actually pour poison pixie sticks with cyanide. Okay. And he handed them out to his son.
What?
And his son's friends.
Oh,
now,
no.
what happened is, surprisingly, none of the friends took the pixie sticks. None of them died.
The kid did.
But his own son died.
Oh, no.
And it turned out that this man had taken out a life insurance policy on his children 2 weeks before this happened.
Oh.
So this man was trying to get away. So I think between, they called that
Convenient.
the Candyman murderer and the Tylenol murders, people in the 80s were weirded out about poison in the candy. And so even though there was really, aside from those two things, there was really nothing true. It became an urban legend about razor blades and apples and poison in candy and things like that.
And edibles.
And edibles. Oh my God, I'd be so excited if my kids got it.
Like,
I mean,
sweet.
yeah. But one thing I wanted to mention really quick, because we talked about this yesterday. We talked about candy corn.
Yeah, I see that in your notes.
Are we pro or are we con on candy corn?
I just can't. I can't do it.
You can't do
It's so
it?
sweet.
Okay.
And it's so chewy.
So first,
And I think it's because of my braces. Like I remember having candy corn when I had braces, and it was not good.
they get stuck in the
They
braces?
stuck in the braces,
Oh.
and I think one of my like the wires. I think one of my wires like snapped
because of
from
the
a candy corn.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so
That's
there's
rude of candy
there's
corn.
kind of a little bit of a trauma when it comes to candy corn. But
I think there's a trauma for a lot of people.
I no longer have braces. But tell me more about candy corn. Are you pro or con?
I will be. I am neither. I'm candy corn neutral across the board. Like it's not good enough to eat, but if there's one, like if it's on something, I'd be like, I don't hate it.
If it's on a cupcake,
yeah, it's on a cupcake.
If it's the eyes of a lantern, a jack-o'-lantern cupcake,
sure, whatever,
Okay.
But I'm not. If I saw one, I'd be like, oh, candy corn, and I eat it. I'd be like, oh, that's why I don't eat this.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Instant sugar coma.
Ladies and gentlemen that are listening, please let us know. Are you pro or con candy corn?
I need to know immediately.
Yes.
Because it's a very like polarizing candy.
And I'm actually going to do a poll. So the next time, write us either on Spotify, on Apple, on wherever you get your podcasts, or reach out to us on email, all that jazz. Reach out to us at MagicisMessy.com and let us know, are you pro or con candy corn? And why?
Yes.
Because I'm going to do a poll in the next, what the fuck is Moonology, the next episode we get together and do. I'm going to let you know
the results.
Is the Magic is Messy Collective pro or con candy corn?
Candy corn. And we will celebrate by eating it.
I am con. You are neutral.
I'm neutral. Okay, so let me tell you. So this is the reason why candy corn was a thing. So before World War I, now this is way back in the day, right? Corn was associated with ultimately chickens and pigs. It was good feed for chickens and pigs.
Sure.
Okay,
It's a fattening.
It was a fattening agent, and it was a low. It was just a low quality food, so to speak. Okay. And so basically it was sold to farmers' children as a candy around Halloween. They called it chicken feed.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
so they were like, like farmers' children to be like, cute.
Cute.
Now I can be a chicken or a pig, and I'm gonna eat my chicken.
Chicken or
you know what
pig.
I mean? Like it was just a way to make children like, oh,
of course,
that's just cool. Because ultimately,
kind of to coincide with their life.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
so
I'm giving chicken feed, and now I get to be a part of it.
And that was, and farming was a huge part of the world at that time. Not so much more. I mean, I think there's definitely still farming, obviously, because otherwise where did food come from? But ultimately back then, this was a time of industry and where people were living off the land more. But basically, corn wasn't thought of as people food back then. Corn was not. It was only extremely poor people ate corn. So that is also the history of cornbread.
Oh, wow.
Corn fritters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when you think extremely poor people, we're talking extremely poor people like slaves, for example.
Of course.
Would be predominantly
eating corn.
Yes. Okay.
Because corn has no nutritional value.
Correct. Right.
And now high fructose corn syrup, like, it's gonna make you fat.
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna fatten you up.
Put you in a sugar coma too. And make no mistake, corn syrup is delicious. Anyway, so corn wasn't thought as people. It was only for extremely poor people. But then during the war, there was a wheat shortage. Again, we're back to rationing. So then there was a wheat shortage. So people had to start coming up with something else because there was a wheat shortage. So more people
utilizing corn
started eating corn.
I got you.
So then they chicken feed turned into candy corn.
Okay.
To keep it moving, because God forbid should candy corn go out of style. So now they say today more than 35 million pounds of candy corn is sold yearly. 35 million pounds. And did you know that October 30th is National Candy Corn Day?
I do now.
And they do bring back, if anybody ever sees it, they do bring back the original chicken feed concept marketing. So if anybody ever sees like a chicken feed, one that says candy corn chicken feed, send us a picture for sure. I would love to see if there's anything in there. But I just thought that was so interesting that I wanted to say something about candy corn because I know candy corn is so polarizing.
It very much is. Absolutely.
And if you can think of if there's one candy that you can think of at Halloween, just think of the most Halloween candy you can think of. Boom. Candy corn. 100%.
Sure. Even if you don't like it, you think
about it.
In fact,
they don't sell candy corn any other time.
The imagery of candy corn is super coincides with Halloween.
Yeah. Does it really?
Yeah. For me,
oh,
it
you
does.
mean it's just a part of your memories?
Yeah. My psyche just knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dig it.
I
actually want to bring the word polarizing up because I really enjoy that word, because Samhain, being the veil, is super, super thin. You're working with the light and the dark, and you're working with death and life, and you're working with, so many, I don't want to say polarizing, but the polar opposite, the pendulum swing.
Okay.
You're right in the middle of the pendulum swing during Samhain.
Okay.
And how can you honor this entirety by going back to traditions instead of the marketable, commercialized version? How can you go back and celebrate as a witch, as they did back in the old ways? If you want to create an altar, I'm just going to go really quickly into this. If you want to create an altar, obviously the black, symbolizing death, orange for vitality. You could include on your altar, and even just make like a mini altar or a small altar in the middle of your dining room table. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. You could include pictures of loved ones or pictures that have passed away, people that have passed away, skulls, bones. Bring back that, the macabre type of an idea without it being macabre.
Right. Because death is part of life. And
Absolutely,
it is. Feared.
Yes. Your gourds, your pumpkins, your autumn leaves. Go and find some beautiful autumn leaves. Bring them into your altar space. If you wanted to use any herbs or spices during this time, maybe rosemary, which is for protection and remembrance of your ancestors, mugwort, which brings on that psychic ability, right, for the divination. Doing some divination, maybe bringing out your tarot cards, bringing a pendulum, or scrying, whatever it is that speaks to your soul when it comes to divination. You could also use cinnamon. We're really in a cinnamon type of a style right now because it really does symbolize life, energy, and abundance.
Also, isn't cinnamon also, isn't that like a hot herb? Don't they call that like a hot herb?
It is a hot herb.
So as a general rule, wouldn't that be also honoring
the fire?
The fire.
100%. Yes, 100%. If you want to use some crystals, shout out to all the crystal witches out there. You might want to use obsidian, which is for protection and a really good one to symbolize shadow work. Maybe amethyst, which is another psychic ability, one that brings you connection to your spirit realm. Or smoky quartz, which stands for transmutation and transformation, which is what death into life truly is. Maybe you want to include a cup of wine, a cup of mead, maybe beer or any libation as an offering to your ancestors.
Or a pumpkin chai.
Pumpkin chai, if that's your jammin'. I just did a pumpkin cold foam for us earlier that was smacking lip good. Apples, pomegranates, we already talked about that, right? Persephone, Aphrodite, Pomona. Or bread or honey as offerings. Soul cakes, which are kind of like your corn fritter or your cornbread mixed with honey. So a soul cake would be a good one. Also, another thing that you could potentially do if you wanted to go back to the old ways is to have a silent supper, or what's called a dumb supper, where you do it all by candlelight, maybe put on a shadowy playlist, or do it in complete silence. Set an extra table setting for your ancestors and literally give them helpings on their plate, and be one with the idea that they are there with you in that moment. Maybe those stories that you were talking about, right? Everyone used to talk about their ancestors. Talk about stories. Talk about what you remember as a child, what you remember about your auntie that has passed away, that kind of a thing, right? And also another thing that I just tripped on is to do everything backwards.
Stop. What
Right?
does that mean?
Dessert first.
Always
bread
dessert
last.
first.
Bread last. Because that symbolizes the thinning of the veil. You are doing it backwards to symbolize the veil is thin, and I'm going to do it the opposite way so that when I, that's such a cool concept to me. I'd never heard of that before.
To me.
And then after your meal, thank your guests for being there. Thank your spirit squad, thank your ancestors, thank the elements, thank your directions, whoever you brought into your space, right? And create a sacred circle around your dinner table, your dining room table, or whatever table space you're using. Place that photo or memento on, or any talisman or anything that reminds you of your ancestors.
Yeah, maybe something they might have left you.
Or anything.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe make a meal of your lineage. When I say lineage of your family, does any meal come to your mind?
Dude, I'm Italian. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. No, I'm not fucking kidding you. I'm kidding, not kidding.
I'm kidding you. Yeah. I mean, I will say that I honor my ancestors and my lost loved ones with food constantly.
Yeah.
And so
You're a kitchen witchin', huh?
I must be.
I love it.
And my family must have been, because the women in my family, and the men in my family, tremendous. Like we have a specific food in my family that on the Italian side of my family that is like fucking currency.
Oh shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if I were to make cutlets,
She's got her hands together and like they're
like
Italian.
all of my fingertips are together. I'm holding it up to the microphone as if you can see it. I just want you to know.
Yep, like a Muppet head.
like
Italiano.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and we had this specific beef cutlets. They were deep fried in Crisco, because ew. But not back then. Crisco wasn't ew. It is nowadays.
It was the deal.
Yeah, and then deep fried breaded meat cutlets. That were, oh my God, I'll make some for you someday.
Yeah, you better. But you better.
But like if somebody were like, oh yeah, they're all right, I'd be like, that's it. We have to get divorced. It's over. Like you have to understand the sacredness of this food right now.
See, but if you bring it to me as a ritual and tell me how sacred this is to you and how it is your family, that intention is going to explode into my mouthpiece.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Right?
I didn't even think
And
about
of course
that.
it's not going to taste like shit.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a part of your soul, and going into it as that is going to make it taste so much more sweet.
It's one of those things where when my grandmother passed, she was obviously adept at making these cutlets for my family. And my dad, when she passed away, my grandmother, she had 4 sons, and my dad was one of those. And my dad, when she passed away, they were like, oh, do you want the house? Do you want the diamond? Do you want, what do you want to take home?
The recipe.
He wanted the skillet.
Oh, of course he did.
The cast iron skillet. Because he believed
all
there's
that love.
something.
Oh my God.
There was something in particular about the skillet.
Yeah, the way she seasoned that shit.
Yeah, and the way that she never fucking washed it. You don't wash cast iron.
Oh no. Oh, I had a boyfriend that I almost washed, and he's like, no. I will never forget that. And he's like, you do not put soap on a cast iron. And I was like, I'm just trying to be a good girlfriend.
So
yes.
Yeah, there is, I think, to be able to make or create the food that your ancestors, like something that was sacred to them and showed love to them and showed whatever their expertise was in that area. I think that's so important.
So a lineage meal, making a lineage meal, setting it up, and not just that, like a harvest abundance meal, right? Like utilizing all of the things that are in abundance right now, like root veggies, the gourds, the pumpkins, the grains, the apples, the pomegranates, creating homemade bread or soul cakes,
Corn
butternut
huge.
soup, any stew with the cattle that were being slaughtered.
Yeah.
So then you could put those bones into the bone fire as an offering. Your shepherd's pie, your chicken pot pie, your those types of things.
Stews.
Maybe even utilizing eggs that symbolize rebirth.
I love it.
Utilizing honey, right? The sweetness that we offer to spirits. Apples, of course, bringing the worlds together, and they are left as offerings. Or pumpernickel rye bread, which symbolizes death because it is dark, or the grounding of the earth.
Love that.
So those are just a couple things that you can do. As I already mentioned, there is a magic board for Samhain that is just available. Go ahead and go download that bish and let us know how it feels. With a lot of different ways to plug into this energy.
And not just download, print it out, put it someplace where you can
or
see
make it as a wallpaper on your phone.
Yeah, that would be cool. Or stick it on your, because I have to tell you, like with the last one that you made, I did print it out and I have it hung up, and so like I put it on actually the front of my dresser.
Nice.
so that you can see, so then every day I can be like, oh, I'm gonna try to do that today, because I'm going for blackout. I think I said that in my last one.
Yeah.
Blackout.
Yeah, do it, girl. Do the coverall.
Yes, I love it. I think
was there anything in that, and I just want to ask this because I've never been able to ask this, was there anything in that game board that you were like, oh wow, I learned something, or that felt really, really rad that I would not have done before? Or was there anything about any game board that hit you well in a space where you're like, oh, it feels like I'm super rocking a practice right now?
I mean, I think just the action of actually doing it, and also realizing that some of what was on the board is shit I already do.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Like when you talked about, and this is, again, going back to what you were just saying, I was going to try to say something about this, but like eating the foods from the ground, literally will ground you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Rooting. Yeah. Roots.
Rooting. And so like during these times, I think that I notice that like, I was taught by somebody else that like spring and fall are those transition seasons, right? So those are times of transition. So oftentimes, especially in spring, you'll feel the earth pushing, because there's energy coming up, like growing from the earth, and as a result, my anxiety will spike. Because it feels the energy of the intention coming up from the bottom of the earth. And so the best way you can kind of counteract that to some extent is to ground.
Rooting, yeah.
And eat things from the ground.
Yeah.
And the same thing with fall, because obviously you're witnessing the challenge of
the decrease of energy.
Yes, the decrease.
The decline of energy.
Shift. And so and probably the veil thinning too, there's probably some like caginess with that, to be honest, as well. So then again, eating those. So I would say, knowing that some of the things that I had done, I will say there was one thing that I tried that I did, the spicy water put me off.
Oh, it didn't rock it for you? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You can use it then for magic spells or potions. Right, you don't have to drink the spicy water per se. You can use that ginger cayenne water
mixture
that meant, that fire that was for the full moon in Aries. And you can use that mixture for motivational spells or for action style spells or something along those lines.
Definitely don't use it to wash your face.
And we talked about that too. Do not. I mean,
do not wash any lady parts with it. Just saying.
No, not a good thing.
No, it's a little too much heat in that area.
So yeah, the magic board is just literally meant to plug you into,
I love that,
the seasons or the moon phase in ways that are easy, effective,
and
enjoyable, playful, and something that is new. Yeah. And I scrounged and searched the internet, and I have not found anything like a magic board.
Good.
And I'm very, very excited to continue bringing it to the MagicisMessy collective, and hopefully a lot more people around the world, because I love it. I've used it for years.
Have you?
And because I made it for myself.
Well,
I was like, well, I don't know of anything like this, so I'm going to make one.
Yeah.
And then I shared it with the coven, and I shared it with other people, and then I decided to just share it with the entirety of the podcast community.
I think it's such a great way and such a fun way to plug in. I mean, when you're starting out new like me, everything feels very overwhelming, and to know all the things, and to like, oh, do I have a smoky quartz, and do I have any, lavender to put on it's like, it doesn't matter. You know what? Just plug in where you feel things are most meaningful. And I loved the board because it puts it in black and white right in front of you, where you can feel like these are some things that I can do. And then before you know it, you'll go, oh my gosh, I've already been doing that. Like, because you're drawn to, or maybe we find that we have more connection to this type of practice than we think.
Well, and I think what I really enjoy about it is when you're starting a practice, or maybe when you're starting to revive a practice, we all get into this, okay, well, what do I do? And there's so many options that you hit the overanalysis paralysis point, and you don't do anything.
Yep.
So just seeing it be so simple, it kind of bypasses the overanalysis paralysis.
Yes.
And you feel like, okay, my practice is getting back to myself. Right. I'm starting to connect with myself. I'm starting to be more intentional. Yes. And that's really why it was made. And I absolutely love them, and I'm just going to keep talking about them.
I think we should, and I would love to have a little bit more of that intention too as we move forward in podcast talking about. During this week, I did the magic board, and this is what came to me. And this is what came to me, like maybe just a little check in.
Well, I also wanted to do. I think you and I talked about the weekly vulnerability check in.
Yes.
Where like what was it that you realize about yourself that you're like, oh man, or for example, my weekly vulnerability, the last episode that I just put out, the what the fuck is a witch, right? I noticed that the microphone, the gain was way too loud. So it sounds like I'm literally yelling at you, where, I mean, sure, I get excited, but that was a vulnerability to me. And I was like, oh my God, are people going to not listen anymore? Are they going to absolutely hate this episode? Are they going to blah, 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 blah? And how the
spiral,
the absolute spiral, you nailed it. The absolute spiral that I went down. And I was like, but you know what? If they don't understand that this is a new format of you and I speaking. Usually I'm in my broom closet, my little Harry Potter closet by myself with just my microphone. Yeah. So this is a new format and we're getting used to it. This is our 3rd episode that we're putting out. Yeah. So just a little vulnerability from me to you, Pikachu, is I'm watching now our microphone gain and making sure that our sound is so much more better.
Yes.
More better.
Thank you for your patience as we work through this. And thank you for sharing that vulnerability. There's so much power in sharing that.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what sharing is all about. Yeah. Right. So speaking of sharing, I would love to see everyone on our super rad, awesome November 1st get together, the Magic is Messy Collective. We will meet for a little bit. We will get some shit done. We will set some intentions. We will high five, good vibe, change lives.
I can't wait to meet everybody.
Jazz. Yeah. So come on out and let's commune. Let's commune with the cosmos. Let's commune with the changing of the energy, and let's give some gratitude to the abundance and the harvest of the season.
Beautiful. So, I'm into it.
With that being said, whatever you're doing for Samhain, whether you're lighting a candle for your ancestors or dressing up if you choose,
or motorboating some candy corn.
Yeah, motorboating the candy corn, or making a meal, a dumb supper for your ancestors, or dancing with your shadows. Remember that Samhain reminds us that endings are sacred, and they truly are just beginnings in disguise. Because death feeds life, and darkness births light, and magic is messy.
Amen.
Amen. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and misters, witches and wizards, thank you so much for joining us on this little bit longer than usual episode. But what the fuck is Samhain? Hopefully you gained a little bit of history. You gained a little bit of things to do with your practice. Feel free to download the magic board. Join us on November 1st, and we will see you very, very soon for the next moon. Ready to seal our attention? Ready? Go.